All praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the true, sincere brethren around the four corners, pushing out this purified truth. Alright, cleansing this wicked, defiled kingdom with the word. And the water to Yahweh Shai, because without him, none of this would even be possible. Alright, so in my first verse, I'm going to read Matthew 2, and I'm going to start at verse 2. In fact, I'll start at 1. Matthew 2 and 1. Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. And that star is speaking of a chariot. So when you look at these chariots today, you look up and you might assume that it's a star. But for all you brethren out there, I'm sure you have the spiritual eye to know. But one thing that shows me differences between stars and chariots is when you look up and see a chariot, it looks like it's pulsating. Okay? Just like, when you look at this one, it looks like it's pulsating. That's the best way I can explain it. But when Yahushua was born, there was a chariot above him. Now, even in today's world, the chariots are still above us. They watch after us. And Lord willing, those same chariots are going to save us out of here. Alright? So Matthew 2 and 7. Then Herod, I'm jumping down to 7 just so you know. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared, because everybody knew that it was found in the scriptures that Yahushua would be born, okay, a savior unto Israel. So when Herod heard that Yahushua was here on earth, okay, everybody knew that there was a star in the east, and people were coming to worship Yahushua even as a little baby. And you have men making it a big deal that we worship Yahushua as well. But anyway, okay, the star that was in the sky wasn't actually a star. The star was a chariot. That's why some people may look up, and if you say, look, that's a chariot, they'll look at you like, man, you tripping. I mean, it does look different, but it ain't no chariot or whatever you talking about, because people in the world, they don't have the spiritual eye. But a lot of us brothers, we see a chariot, and right now it just looks like a star, and we get so excited, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has opened our eyes, that we can see these spiritual things. It's highly beautiful, man. This is, like brothers have said, man, this is a form of spiritual power, being able to break down these scriptures and to have this truth. Alright? So just like you're seeing right now, that's probably what it looked like when Yahushua was born. There was a star in the sky. Alright? I'm going to jump down to Matthew 2 and 9. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. Okay? So guess what? The star that they saw in the east started moving. Why? Because it wasn't actually a star. But from how you see it down here, it looks like it is in the form of a star, is the best way I can really put it. I'll read 9 again, Matthew 2 and 9. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was, which was Yahushua. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And that's why we rejoice when we see the chariots. Okay? Because those are going to be the vehicles that are to deliver the elect of Israel out of here. Okay? Guess what? They're not just stars, man. That's the mystery. You know, it wasn't actually a star, it was a chariot. And we know that now, you know, because through our teachers, the elders and the apostles, and the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai working on us first and foremost to even make that possible, we're able to see these things. We're able to see these mysteries. This is Ezekiel 11 and 22. Then did the cherubims lift up their wings, and the wheels beside them, and the glory of the God of Israel was over them above. So when you observe this verse, all right, this is speaking of the same thing that Matthew 2 is talking about, but it's not expressing it in the form of a star. So listen to this again, for those of you who may not know. The brothers, you know, but you know, it's always good to go over these scriptures again and meditate on them. Ezekiel 11 and 22. Then did the cherubims, or the holy angels, or the chariots, okay, lift up their wings, and the wheels beside them. And why did it say the wheels beside them? Because the chariots are in the form of a circle. They're in the form of a wheel. They're in the form of a roll. They're in the form of a frisbee. But you know, through the Spirit, you know, they don't just come in circular form. All right? Because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai isn't a man of limitation. Okay? He's very out there. But when you read the scriptures, not only are the chariots called stars, or not only are they called chariots, but they're also called clouds. So that shows you the beautiful mystery of the chariots, what the world will call UFOs. They're called stars and also clouds, and both are known to hover over us. So they may cloak themselves as clouds, they may cloak themselves to appear as stars. Okay? But nevertheless, those are the chariots of Israel coming to deliver the elect. And when they actually show themselves, they are not going to look like stars. You will be able to know that those are the vehicles of some extreme, supreme, superior being that is not from this earth. And then you will find out why the Bible said not to be a part of this world and how we are not of this world. The vehicles coming to save us are not of this world. Ezekiel 11 and 22. Then did the cherubims, the angels inside the vehicles, lift up their wings, and the wheels beside them, and the glory of God of Israel was over them above. So the angels can control the chariots, whether they're inside of them or outside of the chariots. Okay? Through spiritual power, because those vehicles are spirits. Alright? But when you go back to Matthew 2, and when it said, when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy, we see things and we rejoice. Now this picture right here is hard to see, but around the moon, this isn't a chariot, this is a moon right here. But what I want to focus on is hard to see in my video, but there's a ring around the moon, you know, and I felt like it could be a chariot that's cloaked around the moon, because you don't see a circle around the moon every night, okay? And these are things that I've seen before, which leads me to my next verse in Ezekiel 32 and 7. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. And like I said, it's also the chariots are also known as clouds. You can find that in Psalms 104. So if the sun's going to be covered with a cloud, or a so-called UFO, and the moon shall not give her light, obviously the chariots are going to fill up the sky. So I think this is spiritual, because if you look closely, you can see a ring around the moon. And I believe if the chariot was to actually appear, it would actually block the moon from giving its light.